Hi-ho, everyone, and welcome back to the adventures of Turwinkle, the Gnome Mage. Well, hi, Turwinkle.
Salutation.
Are you ready for tonight?
Affirmative.
Well, great, because tonight we have M of House Haethon. So we are going to have a fun chat with her and yes, and find out all about her wonderful RP. And so without further ado, and before we get run over by some of these sheep here, we are going to go talk with her. So let us go ahead and find out everything there is to know about M of House Haethon. Alrighty, folks. Well, here we have M with us, and of course Poof. And we're sitting on top of a mountain here in Elwood Forest with the sheep and a little gnome shepherd. And we're right by his house, overlooking a wonderful waterfall. And so we have M. Hello, M.
Hi, Turwinkle.
It is so great to have you here tonight, and we're really looking forward to talking to you and finding everything there is to know about M.
You say that now, but just wait, Turwinkle.
All right, so looking at M's tag, we got Lady Haethon's handmaiden, former shepherd, handmaiden of House Haethon. She's a level 90 human druid, and she's currently bubbly, which we've always found M to be, very bubbly. And so the first question we always ask M is, how did you come up with the name M?
I hit the little randomize button for the name until it came up with one I liked.
So Emeldora is the one, but you just shortened that to M. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, well, great. Now, you are Lady Haethon's handmaiden. How did you get that job?
Well, Em has a habit of, she used to have a habit of swimming in the cathedral fountains when she got bored. And Lady Haethon walked by one day and Em invited her to swim with her before she knew she was a noble. And then she was terribly embarrassed. And then she realized that the lady didn't have any guards, so she was pretending to be her guard for a few days. And then she approached Miri and asked for a job. And then she became a handmaiden.
Okay, well, wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to take a look at M's MRP and take a quick glimpse into that. So we'll be right back and take a look at that. All right, folks, and we're back. And as you can see here, we have M's MRP up. And so in the description, we have blue eyes, race is human, average height, and currently bubbly. In description, you can find more about M at emeldora.tumblr.com, and that is an NSFW site. But so if you'd like to learn more about M, feel free to go there. And it says, cute is the best word to describe M. A nice straight nose with a set of white eyes that are blue-gray in color. A pair of pleasantly soft-looking lips sit above a stubborn chin. All set on a heart-shaped face, her mousy brown hair falls just past her shoulder blades, and she has taken to pulling it into a loose ponytail held back with a ribbon. She's short with a small bust, slender waist, and flaring hips, giving her a subtle pear-shaped figure. Her lithe muscles are covered with pale skin that holds a light tan every now and again. She's almost always barefoot, showing off strong calves and calloused feet. So while dirt is still a good friend of M's, she doesn't wear it as often as she used to. Frequent baths leave her clean and smelling lightly of cinnamon. A well-used, loved staff typically hangs from holders across her back. A small black lamb is often at her heels. It wears a leather collar with a small wooden bell attached to it. Always with M is Poof, the sheep, a comb, and a small coin purse tucked away on her person. Well, wonderful description. And so how long did that take you to come up with?
5 minutes?
Okay. Well, that's pretty good for 5 minutes worth of work.
Yeah, it was about 5 minutes. And then I recently I've been not twerking. That is the wrong word. Tweaking it. I've been tweaking it since she joined House Haethon because she used to just constantly be covered with dirt, and you can't really be covered in dirt and be a handmaiden.
Okay, so wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, and we'll do more twerking, and we will cover some we will cover some more of her history. So we'll be right back with that. And we're back, and as you can see here, we are sitting down after being all twerked out. And so now what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about M's history. So, Em, what can you tell us about your history?
She is the youngest of two kids. And she lived in the headlands of Gilneas. Um, and like her family, you know, they were shepherds. That's what she did, like her entire life. And so for a long time, it was her, her brother, her mother, her father, and her grandfather on her mother's side. And then everybody died, and it was her and her grandfather for up until all the Worgen and then the Nightfares took them away.
Oh, okay. So she is Gilnean then? She was born over in Gilneas?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And so is M a Worgen then, I imagine?
She is, but she doesn't like to run around in Worgen form because she says the fur makes her itchy.
Okay. Wonderful. And so she came to Stormwind for what reason?
Well, it turns out that night elves don't enjoy being called knife ears, so they were kind of grumpy at her. And also because she thought Darnassus, while it was very pretty, was kind of boring.
Okay, so she took the ship over and ended up in Stormwind. And so you talked a little bit how you ended up meeting Miri. Is at that point, did you, is that when you found your way into House Haethon?
Yeah, so she came over from Darnassus by boat, and then she was just kind of a beggar for a few years. And um, she kind of stole food, but she kind of didn't because it made her feel bad. And so she just kind of focused on keeping her and Poof alive and safe and making friends. And that was basically her life up until she met Miri.
Alrighty. Well, wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we will get to know a little bit about her current RP and where and what M is doing now. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, folks, and we're back with M and Poof. So, M, what are you currently doing in your storyline? What's M up to?
I'm going to go ahead and tell you a secret, and that I'm horrible with storylines. And so she just is typically a background or a side character in everybody else's storylines.
What? Well, you're one of my main characters in Turwinkle storyline.
Aww, you're so sweet.
So she likes to play a lot of support roles. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like she's sort of a big part of like Mizen's storyline because they're best friends. Like they made a mud pact about being best friends. It's kind of a big deal.
Okay, hold on now. What is a mud pact?
Well, they wanted to make a pact about being best friends forever, but M doesn't like blood, and so they used mud instead.
Okay.
It's kind of cool.
So it is the mud that binds you.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Well, excellent. Excellent. So there have not been any stories that have revolved around M, is that what you're trying to say?
None, actually, yeah.
So M hasn't been kidnapped or anything like that?
No, but I do know that there is an upcoming plotline with the house where her and a few others are getting kidnapped.
Uh-oh. Well, it's a good thing you told Turwinkle because he will not allow M to be kidnapped, and he will have to put a stop to this evil
Well,
plot.
and then he can totally be her hero, and they can ride off in the sunset on
Yay! On
the
Poof.
robot chicken things. On Poof, yes, on Poof.
Well, wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about M's RP history. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, and we are back. So, M, how long have you been role-playing in World of Warcraft?
Probably close to 7 years, but the first 4 or 5, I was like 12 or so. Yeah, I was 12 for 5 years. It's very interesting. But I was really young, and it was really horrible, and we don't talk about it.
Okay, so we flash erase everyone's memory of the first 5 years, and so you think the last 2 have been kind of where you've grown into role playing in a better fashion? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, definitely. Like the last 2 or maybe 3 for sure. Yeah. Oh, it was bad. A lot of Mary Sue's and dramatics.
So, do you do any other type of role-playing game like Dungeons and Dragons or Guild Wars 2? I guess Final Fantasy is a new one out there now.
Well, I've RP'd on Guild Wars 2, and I've actually done a bit of um, Skyrim RP, but like over Skype and things like that, because Skyrim's a single-person game and all that.
Sure. Well, wonderful. So, what was the hardest thing you think to learn in role-playing in World of Warcraft?
I think the hardest thing, about learning about roleplay, in general, and not just on World of Warcraft, is that it's totally okay to RP your character with flaws. Like, it's actually really fun.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to be perfect all the time. You can have something not go right with your character. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't, personally, some people are really into perfect characters, which is just kind of weird to me, because, one of my characters has a huge gambling problem. Um, Em is really, naive and kind of too trusting at this point in her character development. I'm sure that'll change eventually.
Well, I hope not, because I like M the way she is.
Bad things happen to naive people, though, Turwinkle.
Well, that's true, but Turwinkle will protect M from any bad things that might happen. So, well, wonderful. So, you RP'd a little bit over Skype with Skyrim. How does that go?
It's actually a lot of fun. I did it mostly with my boyfriend, but a friend who I actually met on WoW, his girlfriend and him and a few other friends are actually doing this really huge group RP over Skype that takes place in Skyrim. And what they did is that they would do quests in game, and then they would remember the details, where they had to go and blah 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 blah, and then do the same quest, but they would RP it out via Skype.
Okay, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So, I imagine you folks are looking forward to Elder Scrolls Online then?
I am. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit, but I have a few friends well, mostly boyfriend, who is trying really hard not to get his hopes up, because he had his hopes up for Guild Wars 2, and then he just got really bored with it really quickly. So he doesn't want to be disappointed, and I understand that, but at the same time I'm like, but it's Elder Scrolls!
Okay, well, wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to learn a little bit about M, the person behind the screen. So, when we come back, we will talk to her about that. So, we'll see you then. Alrighty, and we're back. And so, Em, what can you tell us about you?
Absolutely nothing, Turwinkle.
I mean,
I'm originally from Minnesota. So I'm
okay.
living in Oregon, and I've been here about a year and a half.
All right. Eh,
Um,
What do
by the
you...
time this airs, I'll be 21. So
Oh, well,
yay!
excellent. Yay. So, do you work there in Oregon?
Right now I'm just a house girlfriend.
Okay. All right. Well, wonderful. And do you like reading or movies?
I'm actually I'm really into reading,
Oh,
and
well.
I have a book somewhere. I don't know where it went, but I'm really into. It's gonna be a surprise, but into fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I also my brothers and my father are really hardcore science fiction fans, so I read some science fiction, like the Honor Harrington series by David Weber.
Okay, David Weber is an excellent author.
Now I have to look it up to make sure I'm not wrong.
So, do you find that through reading, does that help your role play at all?
Oh yeah, definitely, because because I think a lot of role players, and myself included, fall into like ruts with how they phrase things or like certain words they use. And if you just read a lot of different books, like by a lot of different authors, um, you can get like new words or whatever instead of having to use like the same words over and over and over again.
Sure. So, in regards to M, in what ways are you like M?
I have no idea, in all honesty. I would say that we're very similar in the fact that we're both naive, but I'm not that naive anymore. I used to be, like, everybody kind of used to be a few years ago, um, but I'm not anymore, so I don't know.
Okay, well, in what ways do you think you're different from M?
She's nice to like everybody she meets. I'm not.
You're not nice to everybody?
Oh no, I'm pretty mean. Like ask Tibbs. When you interview Tibbs, ask him if I'm nice to him.
All right. Well, we will do that. Well, wonderful. So, when we come back, folks, we will see if M has any advice for the new RPers out there. So, we will get back with M on that. All right, and we're back. So, M, there are a lot of people that watch the episodes. They seem to like the interviews, and a lot of people that are thinking about getting into RPing or just starting to RP. What advice would you give to those new folks?
Don't be bad.
Okay.
Um, um, I'm gonna give advice that I totally don't follow, but like don't be afraid to ask people for RP or to just like start RPing with somebody who looks like they want RP. Like I'm really bad about asking for RP. I very rarely ask for RP because people are scary and judgmental and horrible, and you should just avoid them in general. But really, most RPers are actually pretty cool, especially if you're like, hey, I'm new to RP, can you help me? And, they will.
Okay, so doing the walk-up RPs is a good way to learn how to RP. Then is that kind of what you're getting at there?
Yeah, and I know there used to be guilds. I don't know any off the top of my head because I've been horribly out of the loop. But there are guilds that are like, yeah, we take all the new RPers. Like, we'll teach you, we'll help you get better.
Okay, and there are actually quite a few guilds, including your own, that will help new RPers along. Some guilds require a little bit more experience with their RPers, but on the most part, I think most of the guilds that we've interviewed thus far have been willing to take in new people that are wanting to learn how to RP and to help them. So excellent advice. And again, I think M makes a great point in that don't be afraid to walk up to people. And if you see that walk up RPs are welcome on their tag, walk up and say hi and start RPing a little bit. The more that you do it, the easier it will come. And so far, I think that's been a pretty solid running theme in most of these interviews when I ask for advice. And that's the way to do it, is to kind of just jump in with both feet and to go put yourself out there and start RPing. So wonderful advice. So
yeah. Most people, if they realize that you're actually trying and you're not just being a troll, they're going to cut you a lot of slack. Like if your grammar or your spelling isn't that great, because you're trying, you're learning, and people aren't, huge jerks that a lot of people think they are.
And that is well said. A lot of people try too hard, I think, at first. And so just take it slow and don't worry about, like you said, the perfect grammar, the perfect punctuation. You do want to take it slow and do your best with it. But on the other hand, you do want to kind of get yourself out there and get started with it. So excellent point. And so when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about in-game relationships, and we'll see if M has any suitors online. And we'll talk a little bit about Poof as well. So we'll be right back with that. And we are back. So M, is there any special guys in M's life right now?
Are you getting kind of jealous, Turwinkle?
He might be.
There's guys that she hangs out with a lot that she considers friends. And then as for like a special someone from in character, he's just called, a man in black. And they're together,
Oh,
I guess.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, wonderful. And what can you tell us about Poof here? We love Poof.
M has raised Poof since he was a little lamb. There were complications during his birth, and she ended up feeding him, and he just kind of latched himself onto her, and he was the only sheep she took onto the boat to escape Gilneas, because they kept telling her that she couldn't take her entire flock, something about space for other people. I don't know.
And so Poof has been with you from the get-go then.
Yeah, Poof's actually part of the reason I even made a shepherd when I first made her. Because I was looking through my pets and it was like, hey, you have this little black lamb. And I was like, I should do something with this.
Well, wonderful. And again, if you folks have seen the episode where we interview House Haethon, we all know that Poof is sort of the unofficial mascot of the guild. And again, we love Poof. And so we always look forward to seeing Poof and M. And so wonderful. So folks, when we come back, we will get some final thoughts on M. So we'll be right back with those. And we're back. And so with our final thoughts, M, is there anything that you'd like to tell the folks out there about M's RP that we maybe haven't covered here tonight?
I don't really know. Like I said, she's pretty naive and innocent still, and she's innocent to the point where she'll say something and then not realize that it was probably inappropriate because she just doesn't cross her mind. She's she's sweet. Like if you approach her, she's probably gonna be nice to you and friendly, unless you do something rude, and then she'll probably just leave.
Well, sure.
Because that makes for interesting RP. Like it makes me RP with people who I typically wouldn't normally RP with.
Well, great. And as you can hear here, folks, we've got a bunch of Horde folks up here, and they are fighting, it sounds like, behind us. And so we are going to go ahead and take our leave of this area before it spreads over to here. And they do try to do something to Poof, and then, of course, Turwinkle will have to pull George out, and things will get real ugly real quick. But, Em, before we go, we would like to just say thank you so much for spending the time with us tonight to let us all learn a little bit about your RP and a little bit about you as well.
Yeah, I hope you remember that you just basically told me that I was going to do this, and I didn't have a choice.
Well, folks, we did tell Em that she was required to come and share a little bit about herself with the rest of you folks. So blame Turwinkle on this one.
Yeah, very stern.
That's right, and I'm sure everybody out there is thankful that Turwinkle did put his foot down, and we were able to sit down with you tonight and learn all about Em and a little bit about you. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to answer all of Turwinkle's pestering questions and to spend some time with us tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Turwinkle.
You bet. Well, folks, Turwinkle will be back in the hinterlands with his final thoughts on this wonderful interview with Em. So we will see you folks in the hinterlands. And we made it safely back into the hinterlands. Well, what a great interview, wasn't it, Turwinkle?
Sure.
You bet we had a great time. So let's give Em a nice thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you very much, Em. It was a great time we had with Em and Poof tonight. So, folks, if you like this episode, click that like button. If you'd like to comment on this episode or Em's RP, do so below. Let us know how we're doing. And finally, if you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you. So hit that subscription button tonight. Well, Turwinkle, an excellent job once again, sir. Right on point as always. And we will see you next time, Turwinkle.
I'll miss you.
We'll miss you too, Turwinkle. Bye-bye.